Good Friday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray as we begin today. It is cold. Let me just go ahead and tell you that. Let me turn off a button over there. 32 is what we're waking up today. It'll get to 62 before it's done this afternoon, but a frost outside. Be prepared for that as you get ready to leave for work. You'll want to warm up your car so you can see out that windshield. We all know how that turns out. Let's go to Marion Honda radar and just take a quick glance across everything as we see this Mississippi all fine. We are expecting fog a little bit later on this morning. That should be moving in between 8 and 9. Fox News wanting to tell us something, isn't it? As we look at this, we do see that back over in Texas, a little bit of fog this morning. But we'll watch this in our area in a little while. But chilly morning as you're waking up, getting this Friday started. First weekend of the new year. Are y'all ready? Hope so. Should be relaxing. That's what we want. A lot of stories that we're working on that we'll tell you about in just a moment. Let's head out to Collinsville, to the First Baptist Church. Brother Ben wants to talk about, weeds. You ever had any? He's going to tell us a little bit more.
I love to garden, but boy, I sure hate pulling weeds, don't you? In Matthew 13, Jesus tells us a parable about weeds. A farmer sowed good wheat seed in his field, but when the crop began to come up, it was filled with weeds. Apparently, an enemy had sown weeds in his wheat field when he wasn't looking. His farmhands, eager to get rid of the weeds, offered to pull up the weeds and throw them out. But the farmer, wishing not to uproot his wheat also, determined to let the wheat and the weeds grow together and separate them at the harvest. Then the weeds would be bundled and burned. Now, thankfully, Jesus later explains the meaning of this parable. Christ is the farmer, the wheat are the followers of Christ, the devil's the enemy, and the weeds are those who refuse to follow Jesus. The field is the world, and the harvest is the end of the age. Right now, just like the wheat and the weeds were left to grow together, so are those who follow Christ and those who refuse to follow Christ. We live right among one another, maybe even in the same household. But there's coming a day when the two groups will be separated. As the weeds would be separated from the wheat, those who refuse to follow Christ will be separated from those who follow Christ. And those who refuse to follow Christ will be bundled and burned in the fiery furnace of hell. Beloved, God has lovingly warned you. Please turn from your sin and trust in Christ. Follow Christ before it's everlastingly too late. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Good message there. Again, you can visit them on Sunday. They'll be having church services if you need a place to go to. As we said, it's a Burr kind of moment. As we all wake up and the moon is bright outside. I saw a lot of comments about that happening there. Jimmy Thompson, how are you? Nanawaya, hope everything is good in y'all's area this morning also. A lot to talk about that's gone on over the last 24 hours. And some of the things we'll go back over at 8 a.m. this morning once Candace gets in. We are awaiting more official word from Chief Deputy Ward Calhoun as we find out that there was a shooting in Lauderdale County last night. Someone was wounded in the Tumsuba area. We await to find out more. Not life-threatening, we do know that at this point. It was a gunshot to the wound as we wait for details of how that maybe happened. Kind of ugly when that happens, isn't it? But that was in the county last night. Miraculously, with all of the shots fired and shootings, there was not anyone hit that I'm aware of in the city last night. We did get a report in the beginning that someone was hit, and it turned out to be a false call once police and the ambulance arrived in the city. So that was a false one. We took that down as soon as we got that clarified. But we do know some areas that did have gunfire in the city last night. Let's take a look at a few of these as we see that gunshots were reported in the 40th Avenue area. Now, again, no one hurt, no one injured at that, but we still had gunfire there. That wouldn't be the last that we would hear. There were several places last night. As we go over to 41st Avenue and take a look, we had gunshots reported there. If you'll see that, if you're looking at the map here, that's going to be up here to the top, up near Highland Park is where that is. Right there is where that took place last night. Happens a lot in that area, doesn't it? We also had shots reported on 44th Avenue. This would be just south of North Hill Street. As we pull that up for you to take a look at that, here's North Hill Street here. It would be due south from there. That's where gunshots were also reported. And again, with all of these, there were no injury. But numerous inboxes of there's gunfire near my house. I heard 5, I heard 6. It could have been 15. There was a lot of that going on last night as we pull up another one at 61st Court. Can't pronounce that, can I? Again, no damage or injury, but we did have reports of that happening there. So we were fortunate in the fact that no one was hurt. Marion Fire Department, busy as well. I'm sure a lot of the volunteer fire departments were busy also. But Meridian, they were out on I-20 last night, right past where you exit off to go to Sam's. It would be between there and the Jimmy Rogers exit, that next one there where you go to the Mississippi Highway Patrol. An 18-wheeler caught on fire in between the box and the cab of the truck. Had a blowout and things just went bad. So that was holding up traffic there for a little while on the eastbound lane there. Worked hard to get that put out there quickly. We also know that Bailey was out last night. They were trying to put out fires, and by the time they got there on this one, the truck owner had his own extinguisher and was able to put the fire out. But we had a report of a truck on fire on Highway 495. This would be up near Gumlaw Church. Volunteer fire department arrived on scene, and it was smoldering, but it was put out. So that's good. No one lost their vehicle. A little bit of damage there, but could have been a whole lot worse. As we look around also, this is, and we'll show some of these, but overnight I cannot count, and we probably don't have enough time, for the numerous accidents with deer last night. It was a bunch of that, of people bumping into them. One of the first that we got reported was exit 150 right there by Queen City. As you look at that, we had someone bump a deer there. No one seriously hurt in any of these, but still they happen. And I know out in the southeast area, it's been one after another, so y'all be careful there. Now, yesterday, what went on? Oh, we had a fender bender. It was a 3-car collision. Is that the best way to word it? We'll call it that. 8th Street is where it all happened there in front of Hair Queen. Look at that. Someone was backing out, someone was going down the road, and then all 3 of them, is the word I'm looking for, got up amongst each other. Isn't that how Jerry Clower would say it? But we did have that. No one seriously hurt, thank goodness, on that. We always like to see that. We do begin this, and we're going to reach out and get some names of those who lost their lives in Lauderdale County on Tuesday. But we do know now we have a name from Kemper County of what went on, and we cannot pass along condolences enough as we pass this. This was that wreck that was just east of DeKalb toward Scuba, where they shut down Highway 16. Well, as we found this out, when Lynn Harrison, he was 47 years old, from DeKalb, lost his life in that wreck. He was a male driver. He was pronounced deceased at the scene of the accident. A horrific accident, head-on collision that happened there. That would be somewhere right around the old roadside park there on Highway 16. If you ever traveled that, East Mississippi Sportsman, and where the landfill is where that happened. I can, in my head as I'm sitting here, I'm counting in the last couple of years, it's been several right there. Another person I knew very well lost their life right there as well. It's a bunch of hills going through there in 16 if you've ever traveled through there. I don't know the reasoning of this. I need to call Scuba, Mississippi and find out. My old hometown, they're going to be closing the railroad from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. on the 10th. So today is the 6th. It's coming up next week. I would think that it has something to do with maybe replacing something with the railroad right there. Every now and then they have to replace those tracks. That will cause a major snafu. You won't be able to go across the county that way. You have to go up to Wahalak and come back down dirt to get around that. There's no other way to do that. If you've got to go, you'll have to come in the old Scuba Road from Wahalak. That'd be it. Come out to Antioch and come back in. Way out of your way. Unless there's a shortcut that I'm not aware of. So that's happening in Scuba. Y'all be prepared for that. As we will get into some of the politics this morning, we'll talk more about this coming up at 8 o'clock with Candace, and I do hope you'll join us for all of that. We've had a couple candidates qualify. Boy, this is getting heated up as we get more people signing up to be Justice Court Judge 1. As we see here, Merritt Berry has signed up. He's qualified. He did that yesterday, also, well, the day before yesterday. And we also had Nick Lisi show up. He signed up. He gave a speech there on the steps of the courthouse. A lot of people turned out for that yesterday. I'm hearing rumor there may be some more hats thrown into the ring for that race. We'll find out on that. Some changes, more people signing up for supervisor races. And, of course, we'd love to hear from these other counties as well, too. We'll get into all of this morning at 8 o'clock. The Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department, pretty busy on this. And I'm sitting here thinking, if I remember right, and a lot of you know the law a little bit better than I do, SWAT showed up in Marion. When SWAT shows up, it's pretty serious. And, well, that was the case. As we look at the story here, Jalen Ruffin was taken into custody. As you read through all of this, a search warrant was served. He was charged with 2 counts of sale of meth within 1,500 feet of a school, 1 count of trafficking and contraband substance within 15 feet of a school, 1,500 feet, rather, of a school. Bond set at $25,000, meth charges at $50,000. Am I not wrong in saying that it's a steeper penalty with your sentencing when it deals with being near a school? It seems like it was some years ago. I think I'm right on that, but I would have to have someone that knows the law a little bit better than me. There's a lot of people that I would say closure. I don't want to use the wrong word on this. This is just a horrible incident. Do you live in Newton County? Do you have family? Do you have friends in there? Of an incident that happened in 2020. This is coming up on the 3-year anniversary of this as we roll into 2023 as how the justice system works. I spoke with Sheriff Jody Pennington last night. As we get this, we pass along this story, life without the chance of parole. As we find out that Carlos Roncalli has been sentenced to life without parole. He's been found guilty of murder and kidnapping. He was sentenced and he was found guilty in 22. The actual crime took place in 20. That's a tough pill to swallow there with something like this. And there is that question. I don't know why. Why was the death penalty brought up in this? I don't know. And I just got a text that when you do sell within a charge within a school, there is a stiffer penalty on that. Just got word of that, so that is true. That's good. So we'll find out more about that. But a sigh of relief for family members, I'm sure. When you lose someone that's close to you to murder, that's an awful thing, and you do want justice. We all do. And again, as we have these elections, y'all think about this. Remember who you're voting for. Study hard before you cast a vote. Ask them, what do you believe in? If this is brought before you, how would you handle this case? Know what you're going to get before you cast your vote, because once you do it, you're that way for 4 years. Voting is, to me, one of the most serious things you'll ever do in your life. And I know a lot of people sit back and go, I'm just one. Yeah, but you've got friends, you've got neighbors, you talk to neighbors, you're an influence upon your neighbors. We all know that. Make sure that the person you're voting for does the right thing. Let's see here, that we are getting confirmation there in Scuba they're going to be replacing the railroad crossing, and then we'll probably move down to Porterville to replace that one. Donna says that it's school and churches. You get caught selling or doing a crime within 1,500 feet of those. And I think that's right. Hey there, Nick Dow. Good to see you there. You can go, I didn't think about that. You could go to, if you're in Kemper, you could go down to take a right there in Porterville and then go back up Townsend Road to get to DeKalb. Still a few miles out of the way, but maybe that's better than the dirt road through Wahalak if you're traveling that. 2 ways of choices. You can go dirt road or you can go paved up by the Cowboy Church back to DeKalb. Y'all pick your choice if you're on that east side of Kemper County needing to make it to the west side toward DeKalb. It's going to be a little rut row there for a few hours there. Keep it in mind. Let's see what else we've got going on this morning as we look at headlines across the area. I don't know if y'all saw this, but this was like a super cool picture that was sent to me last night of the moon. It's bright. It's big outside. Did you see this? Isn't that gorgeous? Always look up. We miss out on the little things of life sometimes with the hustle and bustle of other things going on in the world. Pearl, Mississippi, as we look at this, and this is over Clinton area. We have a minor that's going to be officially charged as an adult in a shooting. Our friends at the Pearl River, at the Pearl Police Department, that's over there. You know where that is. You go to the Bass Pro Shop. They've charged someone, drive-by shooting, being charged as an adult as we go to the police site there. And again, we've got a major problem in the state of Mississippi. If you watch the headlines that we do every day of shootings that happen, they're going to a very, very young age when people shouldn't be involved in shootings. Did you see this one here? Our friends at Dark Horse Press tell us this morning. I talked to them last week, and she sent me this story here. 15-year-old. 15-year-old. Let me pull this up and show you the headline of what she sent me here. Found shot to death in Jackson. 15 years old. She was a girl. Why, oh, why, oh, why? And again, you can probably bet your boots that that's going to go back to somebody that was underage also. We should never have to read a story like that. We can't control those that do these bad things. And it's, again, it is not the weapon that does it. It's the person on the other side of that weapon. You can put a weapon down and it's not going to move. I don't care how this side of America tries to tell you that it's that fault. It's not. It goes back to one thing, and I think that we all agree on this. We've discussed it before. It begins with a little thing called family, being taught right from wrong. And when we take that from America, we end up with what's going on right now, don't we? We've got a mess on our hand. What are we going to do to correct it? I don't know. It seems more and more our national leaders go a different direction than middle America. And I say middle America, but the folks that, like you take northern Colorado, that go, wait a minute, I don't agree with what these big cities are doing, and they want out. We still believe in family values and churches deep in middle America, and that's what I describe as middle America, those who have those type of beliefs. Our larger areas are dictating what happens in our courts and influence in the rest of America. It worries me, and I hope it worries you too. And it goes back to what's going on right now, elections. I don't know much about this, but I do see the headline this morning. I'll dig deeper into this. Almost saddens you, but it does happen quick as we lost one of the greatest there. A rock and roll legend passed away in the great state of Mississippi. I'm talking Jerry Lee Lewis. Y'all know who I'm talking about. His home is already up for sale. Didn't take long, did it? That happens. And whether you're a superstar and world known, that will happen to you in a heartbeat and family. We know how that works. Not everybody wants to stay in a place. Man, there ought to be something extra for this when you do a crime that involves elderly. Anybody agree with that? We looked at Clinton, Mississippi. An 80-year-old was carjacked. They've got him. They've arrested him. What can an 80-year-old do to defend themselves against someone who's young and strong? They just take what they want from them. I just feel like there ought to be a stiffer penalty when you cross a certain age and take advantage of somebody that can't protect themselves. It's ridiculous. I've got an idea. It's judges. Make a stiffer penalty. Set an example. Really and truly, examples do work. It's those who get the timeouts that it leads to, there's no repercussion for what you do. An argument amongst three women, Columbus, Mississippi, one of the headlines we're seeing this morning. Three of them got in a fight. They all got, assault charges put against them. We got a lot more stories we're going to talk about this morning at 8 o'clock. I hope you'll join us as we discuss this and many other stories that are happening in our communities across America. A lot of them right here in the state of Mississippi. Makes you shake your head. Right now, I urge you to get that jacket. We're going to be right back as we get into give you that forecast that's next here this morning as we begin. Maybe these gas logs, maybe you need a set of those. We'll be right back.
Sanders Gas, Sanders Air and Heat is your full-service propane supplier since 1946. We take pride in ensuring reliable, friendly service to our customers. We also provide safety tune-ups related to propane, air conditioning, and heating systems, keeping our communities efficient and safe. I'm Chuck Sanders, and yes, we're local.
The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built-in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group.
Have you been hurt on the job? Call Will Parker. Get the help you deserve. Call Will Parker. Know your rights when it comes to the workplace injuries. Call Will Parker. Call or go online at parkerfirm.net. Call your Meridian lawyer, Will Parker.
Welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. As we brought it when we first began the broadcast just a little ago, we were waiting for confirmation from Chief Deputy Ward Calhoun, and he's gotten back with me from Lauderdale County. The gunshot wound that happened in eastern Lauderdale County in the Tumsuba area happened right before midnight. It was self-inflicted. Looks to be an accident. That's the best we can do. Not serious. Somebody was injured and shot, though. Self-inflicted. That happens from time to time. We see that a lot. Glad they'll be okay. Don't play with guns. I'll say all that. Let's get into your forecast now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Record highs, record lows, 1989. I remember it well. I was in college at the time. It's 78 degrees today. It was a warm one. As we look, well, look at there. It's not there. I had some help. They didn't put my temperature. So we had a low today in 1928 that I have absolutely no idea what it was. I'll talk to them, see if they'll fix that for me tomorrow. Today, let's expect sunshine, and 61 to 62 looks to be what will happen as we go northward, go up to Columbus Air Force Base. 57 today to the south. We'll get at least 64 there, and even warmer over at the river at Natchez. 66 is what we're looking for. As we go east into Bama land, 59 there in Tuscaloosa, Demopolis about 59, and somewhere right at 60 degrees there in Livingston, Alabama, depending on which side of the pond you're on. Be careful there. As we look at the temperatures, not any change. Warmer weather. We don't see anything that even resembles winter other than this morning in 32 degrees, do we? The daytime highs are going to be warm for the next few weeks, at least 6 to 10 days as we look at that 7-day outlook. Brought to you by Wilson Saw. We see today is 62. Look at tomorrow, Saturday, 70 degrees. Couldn't be better. Now, we've got rain chances moving into the forecast on Sunday afternoon, a high of about 62. We'll get 10% chance on Monday and a slight chance on Tuesday, but we're still, look at that, 65, mid-60s all the way through Thursday. Let's go a few more days into January and see what we've got all the way toward the 20th. 57 on the 13th. Ooh, that's coming up before we know it. 59 on next weekend on the Saturday. Well, we're still at that 68 to 71 degree mark. Nothing that says it's going to be cold, 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 is it? We'll watch it and let you know if winter decides to show up or not in the South this year. Best times to fish today. Let's head out and see what Chet's Paint and Body has to offer for us. This morning around 7:30. If you can handle the cold, that's where to be for a couple hours till about 9:30. Check that out. It'll be after dark before your next major time, but you could go fishing this afternoon. Wind's going to be calm, becoming north around 5 miles an hour today. Want to do that. Now, first time to hunting today. What's the best time? It looks like your major time is going to be an afternoon hunt, an early one. As we go to Collinsville Meats, we find out that around 1 o'clock this afternoon till 3 o'clock is the prime time. Oh, I would go ahead and set till dark if you can stand sitting that long, but major time, a 2-hour window there right after lunch. It'll be not so cold, but maybe it's the perfect time for you. And again, wind's only 5 miles an hour. That'll be kind of perfect for hunting. Can't beat that, can you? That's a quick look at what we've got going on. A few of the headlines. There's a lot more that we'll cover this morning at 8 o'clock. We'll go back some of the ones that we've talked about and a few more at 8 o'clock. Candace will be in. She'll join me. We'll get into all the do's and don'ts that's going on in our community. How's everybody? I hope good. I was looking back over comments, make sure we hadn't missed anything. Joe Skipper, good to see you there. Gilbert, glad to see you up. Always good. Let's see here. Bob says when we move the show to 7 o'clock, what will we do here? I will most likely move this back to 6 a.m.-ish. Do it around 6 for a weather update to let us know what's going on there. And then we'll hit the news and headlines hard and heavy. We'll be releasing, letting you know who all is going to be joining the show before long. I think a lot of people have figured it out, who's coming. That's going to be the 16th of the month. We will move the 8 a.m. show move it back to 7 a.m. and most likely do this show right there at 6 o'clock. You still need to know how to dress and get things going early in the morning. I don't think you want me doing it any earlier than that. But we'll let you know what happens around 6 of what's coming up at 7 and as we get the show ready. And maybe we'll do a little bit more this year. We're looking to expand to keep you more up to date with what goes on in our area. Got to get all my ducks in a row. We're laying it out. New studio, new things happening this year. And I have to honestly say from the bottom of my heart, I can't say thank you enough for those who support me. Each and every day, y'all are here as we gather the headlines for you. A lot of thirsty people want to know what's happening. Couldn't do it without you. I'll be back in a minute and 1 hour and 3 minutes as we'll gather everything together now to get ready for that next big show. Join us, won't you? Grab your jacket, warm up your car, you're going to need it. Freezing degree outside, 32 right now as you wake up for this Friday morning. I'll see you soon. Appreciate you. Hey, Mary, good to see you there. Chet Parker's up. Appreciate that, Chet. Looking good for us there. And as I always talk about, Chet, we couldn't do it without Chet. He's a big supporter of our show. And let me say this before I hit that button. Of these people that you'll see here in the right-hand corner, you see those sponsors there? Folks right here in our community, they're good folks. I know each and every one of them. And they, too, like to know what's happening in our community. That's why they support this. When you can, visit them, frequent them. I've known most of them all of my life. I've been doing this for quite some time. We honestly do not have sponsors that don't stand behind what they do. All of our sponsors are good folks. You go to church with them, they back what they do. Sort of a process there. We don't have fly-by-night people be a part of this. They're good folks that you know them well. Anyway, I'll quit rambling. But a big thank you to each and every one of them. We'll see you in 1 hour from now. Y'all come back.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: